You know, sometimes in that Happy Days song, Tuesday is not a happy day. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Tuesday, the newest film from director Daina Pusić. So welcome to the world of wonderful A24 films, where we get weird, exciting, crazy, and over-the-top strange films. And Tuesday is no different. Tuesday is about a young girl who's played by Lola Petticreww, who is named Tuesday, who is actually a terminally ill patient. She is an individual that is going through the late stages of her life, and her mother, who's played by Louis-Drefyus, can't really handle it very well. She's selling off all of her mother's stuff to kind of support the family, and she is just kind of in her own state, but she's doing everything to keep her daughter alive. They have, of course, have a nurse who's played by Leah, Harvey, and it's very much a drama about a mother and daughter having to come to the senses of the fact that the daughter is going to die. Well, you can't have an A24 film without some really interesting kind of subject matter, as well as an interesting twist. And the interesting twist comes in the idea of a macaw, who is a personification of death. And so this macaw, this creature, this bird, can actually become big, can actually become small, depending on the state of the creature, and is able to basically release into the afterlife the person that's dying. Well, he visits Tuesday, and it becomes a journey about how a mother is trying to keep her daughter from dying and the ramifications of that situation, as well as the personification of death being a talking macaw. It's a very strange movie in a lot of respects, but it is definitely an A24 film. So I got to give a lot of credit to people like Daina Pusić and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and of course Lola Petticreww, for swinging for the fences with this one, to be fairly honest, because I didn't know much about this film, but when I read the synopsis of it, and I was provided a copy, of course, from A24, which I appreciate, I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. I didn't know what this film was really about. I knew it had to do with terminally ill people, the idea of death, but I didn't watch the trailer because I didn't know much about it. It, of course, was at some film festivals and stuff like that, but I heard some really good things about it. I heard Julia Louis-Dreyfus is really good. I heard the whole cast is pretty good in this movie. But the idea of a talking macaw that is a personification of death that would have a journey with this young girl, I didn't expect that at all. And I didn't know what it has like a really good Rotten Tomatoes score. So I just, once again, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I was watching this film, but I should have known when I was watching an A24 film that this film was going to be much different than a lot of films out on the market. It's just how A24 operates. So for my honest review of Tuesday, this movie is very melancholy, very sad, but also very funny, very offbeat, and just very, very weird. Now, with all that said, I really love this movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year, to be fairly honest, because it takes the idea of a mother who is having to deal with her daughter who is a terminally ill patient and trying every step in her facet and being to stop this macaw, this personification of death, from basically taking her from her, is really fascinating, to be fairly honest, because we are all like that when our family member dies. We have somebody in our life who passes away, whether it be a friend, a family member, somebody, a coworker that we were really close to, our own relatives, and stuff like that. It's a really thought-provoking movie in a lot of respects, but it is also an A24 movie, so the idea that the macaw is a personification of death is really fascinating, to be fairly honest. It really is. It's a really unique take. This thing goes around, takes people's lives to a better place, and then he comes across this woman who talks to this macaw, who is basically just been kind of going from person to person, and actually instills some interesting philosophy and theorizing and just kind of allowing the macaw to think about its life. And on top of that, it allows the macaw to take a bath, to clean itself off because it's very dirty. It's a really interesting film. I was really kind of taken aback by the weird, not only the weirdness of it, but just the nature of like how sweet and melancholy, but also very, very funny it is. Because Julia Louis-Dreyfus, to me personally, is doing some Oscar level material here, because she's so good at having to deal with all those emotions and kind of the ideas of how she has to portray herself against something that is truly, it comes to all of us in the end, which is what the macaw says. And to watch how she progresses and what she comes to realize and what she has to come to accept is a really powerful thing. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus does a really nice job in this role as that mother who just can't let go, and when she has to finally let go, it's a very deep and very sad, but also very cathartic thing in a lot of respects. And I really appreciate what the director was doing with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. And I really feel like it's a very powerful moving thing. And on top of that, the idea that Macaw seems so weird, but it actually is very potent in a lot of respects. It does a really nice job of just being a very interesting way to personify death in a lot of respects. It's a creature that can be, like I said, it can grow into big size proportions, it can grow into small size proportions, depending on what creature, human, whatever it's taking. And I just found that really interesting. I found the twist, which I won't spoil here, very interesting in how it goes. On top of that, Lola Petticreww, who plays Tuesday, the titular character, is really fascinating as this young girl. Apparently she's like 25 years old trying to play a 15-year-old. And at no point during her acting and during this movie did I ever feel like she was much older than she is playing. She does such a nice job as someone who realizes where she's headed, but also wanting to comfort this Macaw who is there to take her from this world. And it does a really nice job. And on top of everything, the dynamic between Lola and Julia is really fantastic. You really feel the love between the two of them. And that is on the heels of Daina Pusić's writing. And she does a really nice job of just like creating this really offbeat but really kind of cathartic world that we see in this movie. It's a movie where like if you ever seen Love Lies Bleeding, there's a lot of fantastical stuff that happens in that movie that happens in this movie. So it's a really kind of a fantasy in a lot of respects, but it's also a way for us to comprehend what this person is going through. And I really appreciate what Daina Pusić does in this movie. And it's a really fascinating movie. But once again, because this is so offbeat and the material is doing and material is putting out there, it's honestly not going to be for everyone. That's just the nature of what this film does. It is very, very weird. It is very unlike, a film that you'll see in the theaters. But I think if you get the justification of what it's doing, how it's presenting itself to the audience, I think you'll truly love this film. And I think you'll truly love the performances in this film and where it heads and kind of the nature of how weirdly kind of darkly comedic it could get, but also weirdly kind of heartfelt, and it's romanticized a little bit in the response of death and stuff like that. So overall, I really like this film. It's one of my favorites of the year. Julia Louis-Dreyfus deserves an Oscar nomination for this movie, and it's just fantastic. It really is. So overall, Tuesday, highly recommended. Don't really have any problems with it, outside of just, not for everyone, but, that's movies in general. But, yeah, with that said, that is my take on Tuesday, the newest film from Daina Pusić, starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Lola Petticreww. So there you go. Comments below if you have seen this movie. What do you think overall? Did you think it was as weird as I did? Do you think it's a film that was for you? If not, let me know why, but I understand if it's not. Otherwise, yeah, thank you so much. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.